We're adding these accent tiles to this existing shower. Here's how you do it. Accent tile can really bring color and life to an ordinary surface. My client wanted more color in this bathroom, so she gave me these to install along the top row of the wainscot, through the shower, and along the other side of the wainscoting. She wasn't sure what size she wanted to use at first or how many she could get, so I told her we can add them in after the walls are up so she can get a visual of what they would look like. I'll show you how I installed these two, which I thought would be helpful if you or your client wanted to add some accent tile to an existing shower. Once you've decided where to place the accent tile, trace the tile on the wall. Don't forget to allow space for a grout joint around the perimeter of the tile. Since this tile has a high gloss finish, a Sharpie marker works best. The main cutting tool is a 4.5-inch grinder with a diamond blade. You'll need a mask for excess dust, earmuffs, and eye protection. I always use a vacuum when dry cutting indoors. I like to have one hand on the grinder and one hand on the vacuum hose and hold them together tightly like this. When cutting, you should treat it as if both tools were a single unit so they move in unison. Make sure you have a premium quality blade on your grinder so that it doesn't chip the tile. This is basically tile surgery, so you need a very steady hand. As I'm cutting on the line I drew, notice I'm being careful not to pass the perpendicular lines on either side. Cut just enough to get to the corner of your marks. Now this is one of those times I have to tell you to do what I say, not what I do, because I don't have the guard on my grinder. For your safety, use the guard. I personally don't use the guard because it prohibits me from seeing clearly where the blade will cut and gets in the way of certain cuts. But I've been doing this over 27 years, so I'm very familiar with grinders. With that being said, this process alone requires an advanced skill level with a grinder. If you want to get used to these movements, it is best to practice on a piece of backer board before cutting into finished tile. And I do apologize for any random camera movements. The camera is strapped to my head and sometimes it gets a little bouncy. The camera, not my head. Once you've made your initial grinder marks, the next step is to use a Dremel carbide cutting bit. You can definitely use it with a Dremel, but if you don't have a Dremel, you can use the bit in a standard cordless drill. I do own a Dremel, but I always keep a few bits with my cordless drill for whenever I don't have it with me. Since this carbide bit is like a stick, you can use it to reach the corners where the grinder couldn't reach. As you're cutting, it's important to lean the bit against the tile edge that you're going to remove. This ensures that you won't cut into the side of the tile that's going to stay. A side note, this subway tile is ceramic, so it cuts pretty fast. For stone and porcelain, it could be a very slow process and burn through quite a few bits. Vacuum the dust out of the joint so that you can check to make sure that you cut the tile corners all the way through. Once the corners are all cut out, you can use the grinder to clean up any edges. And now you can easily pop out the small pieces without affecting the other tiles. You can use a rubbing stone to gently soften the cut edges so that they're smooth. Now you can dry check the tile to make sure it looks the way you want it to, and now it's ready to be installed. My battery died on the camera installing the first tile, but here's another. Apply a burn coat of thinset to the wall for better adhesion and back butter the tile. Since these accent tiles are a little thinner than the wall tile, I put a little extra mortar and pushed it until flat. Clean up the excess thinset and you're good to go. Like this video if it added value to you, and if you have any questions with a specific project, put them in the comments below. Here are a few photos of the finished project. Thanks a million for watching, and tile on, my friends.